traveling this sacred journey in the spirit of wisdom.
The dawning of a new awakening comes to the warriors of the rainbow.
Prophecy speaks of many nations, cultures, colors, and creed coming together as one to bring forth the healing of Mother Earth and its occupants.
It is of the utmost importance that we unite and make it so. Welcome to Turtle Talk with Barbara Threecrow on the Awake Radio Network.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Barbara Threecrow, live on Turtle Talk, Awake Radio. It's March 7th, 2016. I hope everyone's doing well today. I'm happy to be on here. Thank you, Devin, for getting me back. I have a guest today, I'm happy to say, Brian Porter. I'll be bringing him in a minute or so. I started out last week with very interesting read called Looking for Turtle Island. And it's about ancient teachings of First Nations people about how to live in harmony and also how to renew the earth, I guess, to become stewards again or return to becoming stewards. So I thought that this would be a good opportunity to slip in Brian here, Brian Porter, because he's pretty much on the same page that I am. He's a host on Revolution Radio on Wednesdays, 10 Eastern Time. His show is called I Am Nature. And, we have a lot in common. Like me, he's a humanist. I call myself a humanist. I think he's one. And a steward of the Mother and Mother Earth and all of life. He also has been called and given a vision. And I think it's the same thing that a lot of us are being asked to do, is to become, to be in service for the good of all, to start making some changes. We're not going to talk about a lot of, the stuff or the negatives, or we might touch on a little bit of that, because I always feel we need to know what's happening, but mostly we've gone over and over and over what is happening, and it's pretty serious out there, as we all are getting to know more and more every day. And my feeling is that we know. We're all well read about this. We've all done our research. We're pretty up on what we are against. Now I feel like we need to get busy. We need to get to work. I call it our sacred works, because it is about on a higher frequency or a higher consciousness, working with the gifts and the blessings that we were given, coming together as one big family on this Mother Earth, all colored nations, black, red, yellow, and white. So we'll be touching on some of those things, and we'll see where it goes today. I don't really have a big plan, but I'm just going to bring you in now. Brian, are you there?
I'm here, Barbara. Thanks so much for having me on.
Well, I'm glad you're with me. We've been talking a lot over these last couple of months and having a lot of fun chatting and sort of getting to know each other. So I'm happy to have you here today.
Well, I mean, we do have a lot in common. I don't know if you want to share the story of Maya with your listeners. That was a pretty interesting sort of coincidence, or what's the
well,
word?
It's a coinky dink.
Coinky dink. It's a good word.
Yeah, that's, well, we could start out there because that kind of was a big surprise for both of us, actually. Um, so, and you and I had been talking on Skype, and I think we even, didn't you have me on one of your talk shows? Was it a year now ago already? I was
Yes,
a guest.
you and Two Dog were on my show.
That's right.
It was probably 9 months ago.
Yeah. So we'd been in communication, and I guess we were Skyping, and out of the blue, you said something about Maya. You wrote in something in reference to Maya, and I was quite surprised because this being, in my experience, has been with me for many, many years, and she's a star being, and she's from the Seven Sisters, the planet up there called Maya. And oftentimes in the First Nations cultures, for instance, you were known by a name of your territory or your clan or the name of your people, aside from your original given name and then your spirit name and so on and so forth. And so anyway, this being has appeared to me many, many years ago, and have had a lot of communication with her as a guide, and she's a star being and a very, very tall being. And when you mentioned the word Maya, I thought to myself, did I mention Maya to Brian? How does he know that name and the right spelling, correct spelling, right? It's not Maya. So you want to share your part in this?
Yeah, well, what it was, Barbara, is that my 60th birthday was in January 22nd. And so, when you have a birthday, Skype sends around, a message to everyone. And you responded to my message, wishing me a happy birthday.
That's right.
Yeah. And so, for some reason, I just had this compulsion to share the fact that for the first time in my life, I asked this being that's been guiding me since I was like 10 years old. I asked her name. I'd never thought to ask her name. Maya came out, right, in my mind. And for some reason, she wanted me to share that with you. And it's not even intentional, right? It just happens. It's really kind of amazing how these things come to fruition. And that's what's happened through my show. One of the greatest things about having a radio show, folks, is that you meet amazing people. I'm a very touchy-feely kind of, I want to get to know people kind of person. So the people who are open to that kind of energy, I usually become good friends with. And so through my show, I've met some great people, and not all of them are as touchy-feely as I am. So we haven't developed a close relationship, but a lot of them I have met. And I have developed a very close relationship with. So I think it's been an amazing journey for me. It's almost like going back to one of the great experiences of my life in my younger years is when I decided to switch from science to study philosophy at university. And I started, dealing with the real questions in life and not mathematical formulas that really meant very little to me. So yeah. And you're one of those beings.
Thank you. I feel that way. I feel that way too, since I've been on doing hosting here and as guest. It's over 2 years now. Been really connecting with, well, I guess we call it like-minded people, but people of the same flow or same consciousness or inner standing, I call it. And it's been quite wonderful. And so, yeah, it's nice to be able to speak to people about things that you feel strongly about, and also even not just, well, we can include political stuff, but I mean spiritual stuff or mysteries and the mysterious and the magic and the phenomena, because this is all part of our lives here. It's all part of who we are. And to be able to, you know, investigate things together and share our perceptions and our deep feelings and thoughts and ideas is really quite wonderful without prejudice, without criticism, and so on, which is very important, I feel. And I just want to just review here the seven sisters that we're talking about. The one MAIA, Maya. She's the one that has been connected to you and I, and I know that many spirit beings are interconnected with many others here on the earth, many people. So it's not like, well, she's my spirit being or she's my guide. You know, it's not like that. It's like that's the human mind or ego, if you want to call it that. But it's interesting that you and I connected, and she is. She's so present in our lives, and so I mean, what does she mean to you? What are your experiences? If you want to just talk about that a little bit before we go into something else, because it's very significant to me, and I know a lot of people are interested in how we engage, or how are we engaged with or communicate with or receive guidance and signals from various elementals. And so what is your experience with her, Maya?
Well, when she first appeared to me, I was about 9 years old. She was an incredibly beautiful being, and her torso was that of a Christian type angel. She had wings. She had 3 rings around her head, which I've since learned and that means she has an incredible amount of knowledge. I call her a creator being. I mean, she's basically creates planets, and she's incredibly knowledgeable in all the feminine energy that is here. She may be the top creator being here. I have no idea. I'm just, my role here with her and my is to bring back the foundational knowledge. That's what she calls it. But what she did is she appeared to me when I was very young. I was living in a fairly dysfunctional family. And I went to a shamanic weekend, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and I started reading literature about it. And it's said that often a shaman is reborn around age 10. And then I knew that right after I saw her, I had a very bad bout of scarlet fever, and my parents, who were not the most diligent parents on earth, they kind of ignored it. And when we went to the doctor said, "I can't believe your son's still alive."
What's wrong with you people?
He's been, he's had this. This would kill most children, and he seems to be recovering. So there's a chance that I may have died and then come back to life, maybe with more knowledge. I don't know. I mean, I just when you hear stuff and you're learning new things, or you're at a presentation, it's sort of, you get this boom. Oh, okay, now I understand why that happened. So I think that was it. But what she did is she taught me how to basically support myself from a very young age, because my parents were too into the money god, trying to fit in, trying to look rich, prestige and all that sort of stuff. I mean, we went to the Roman Catholic Church. It was just, man, I just saw the movie, what was it called? The one about all the pedophiles in the church.
Was it a documentary?
No, it won the Oscar.
Oh, it won an Oscar. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was, because I'm not a popular culture guy. I didn't even know this. But
you didn't, huh? Yeah.
But it's an excellent movie.
Is it about one particular priest?
Oh, well, actually, no, it's an incredible... Let me just
okay, because I did see a movie on one particular priest many years ago, and it was just one of those shocking, the whole thing cover-up, and he was dragged from one little town to another, and nobody knew, and very, very, very revolting what went on.
It was called Spotlight.
Spotlight.
You've definitely,
Oh,
anybody
I'll
who's
have to
seen this
check that
movie
out.
has got to watch it. It's one of the few movies that has come out in the last 10 years out of Hollywood. I put it up there with Avatar.
Okay.
Incredibly brilliant movie. It's from an era when the mainstream media actually made a difference. Back in the early, I think it was around 2002, this story came out in the Boston Globe. An
Yeah.
investigative journalist team
Yes.
basically turned over, I mean, a huge litany of cases in the Boston area, like almost 300 abusers connected with the Roman Catholic Church.
Mm.
And then it led to a huge array of other investigations. And at the very end of the movie, it shows all the other cities in the U.S. I'm not sure if it was the U.S. or worldwide, but it was just like hundreds of other cities.
Many hundreds.
Yes, it
Many
went.
hundreds and for many, many centuries. It's
Yeah.
nothing
So,
new.
but what I learned from all this is that, I mean, my parents didn't understand this stuff when I was young. I was being put in very vulnerable positions, but because of God, because of Maya, I was protected, and I would refuse. I was a pretty docile kid. I mean, I had no self confidence really till I turned like 20. No, pretty much no guidance
Mm.
of any worth other than be a good person and get high marks in school. That was basically what my parents taught me to be. Nothing about finding your inner strengths, your inner purpose. Nothing along those lines. I was in very many ways raised by the nature spirits, and I'm sure they're the ones that connected me with Maya. And yeah, because I used to play a lot in the woods. I used to live right on the edge of a beautiful wooded area, a valley. I used to call it the valley in a town called Hamilton, which back then was a big steel town in southern Ontario. It's not far from Toronto, actually.
And you're still living in that area, aren't you?
Well, I'm back there just on a short-term basis because my mom needs me, and she's gotten quite old, and she's probably going to pass over in a few years. Who knows? She's a tough
She's
person.
hanging in there, huh?
Yeah, she had a big fall, and I really
Mm.
had to put a lot of time, invest a lot of time into helping her get service and whatnot. But she seems to be on the mend now, so that's
Well,
good. But
well, you and I have a lot in common around this thing too, because I grew up in a fairly dysfunctional household, and I did spend a lot of time in the woods near here too. And the nature spirits, yep, they helped me big time and saved my sanity, I suppose you'd say, or at least helped me to feel safe there, you know, and guided me and so on. And Maya, this being, I think she came to me very early.
well, let
Also,
me finish my description of Maya. I
oh
sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
sidetracked on the pedophilia thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so she looked like a Christian angel on top, but she had these rings, and then on the bottom, though, I swear I haven't seen a picture like this ever since anywhere. She was like a mermaid,
Mm. Love it.
and I mean, it just blew me away. I mean, I looked at her twice, and then she just stayed there until I finally noticed that she had this beautiful tail. And she was bright white, and just the whole room I was in just lit up, and it was just I'm hoping I'll see her again when I pass in that kind of radiance. But it's hard to say. But I ever since that happened, I've been always Mr. Natural was one of my heroes when I was a child. I don't know if anybody remembers Mr. Natural, but he was like a cartoon character. And he was all about getting back to the earth. This was the beginnings of the green movement.
I never heard of Mr. Natural. That's interesting. Getting back to the green. What year was that around?
Oh, that would have been back in the probably the mid '60s, late
Oh
'60s,
yeah, okay, okay,
around the Woodstock era.
yeah. The love era, free love and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Good time, good time. Well, so my here's what comes to my mind, and we talked about this before in one of our conversations because these elemental beings and the spirit beings and so those that are in those realms that come to people often show themselves in different forms, many different forms, or the same form but unique to that person, which is kind of interesting because my who appeared to me is as a very tall, one of the very tall star beings. The light, yes, that light, that energy, that essence is so loving. I felt such the love that radiates from her is extraordinary, and I know you express the same. And but with me, she had, of course, this glowing around her, but a lot of different blues and rainbow colors, but specifically the blue, variations of blues, which were so beautiful, incredible, beautiful, and tall, 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 thin being. You know, I guess you would say almost like, well, in our way, in the First Nations way, some of the beings, like the Wakians, the thunder beings, are extremely tall beings. And then you have the little people who are, very little people. They are little people, and so on. But she appeared to me that way, but it was her radiance that was so brilliant and loving. And she, I've called upon her in different experiences when I needed help, and she's immediately present. Her energy is immediately, there. But she's been a teacher to me ever since I was a child. Yeah. So I found that your description of her and my description of her was a little bit different, but it just brought to my mind about the teachings in our way that these beings can take any form that they choose. And that's important to remember, I do want to say that people who often cross over, because I'm reading this book, Life After Death and Past Lives, that people do describe upon their first leaving their body about what they're moving into, what they experience, what they see, who they see. And it has been noted through many examples how it depends on how you live your life. Then when you leave your body, you are met with certain beings that are very similar to what you would be focused on, or what your beliefs are, for instance, or what your level of heart, love, compassion is as a human being. And this is all kind of an interesting thing because, for instance, people who are very devout Catholics would see angels, for instance, or various beings, or even Christ. And people who are Buddhists, for instance, may see various elementals or beings in that spirit realm that represent that to them. I found that very interesting. I haven't delved into the question of why is that, except very briefly, and it almost is though to soothe those persons, to help them feel safe and unafraid as they're moving out of their body into the unknown, as we would say the unknown, because that's how we think of it, as the unknown. But anyway, just wanted to bring that up. What do you think on that?
Well, it's become a huge part of my philosophy of, I call it tri-energetics, is what we've lost touch of, an understanding of, and this is something that I'm constantly getting guidance on and asked to teach people about, is the love of difference. We're all basically set up a little differently. We look at everything in nature. I mean, the Creator loved variety, diversity, and difference. I mean, every tree looks different. Even a simple plant like a grass, there's two. They're really identical. The only species that I know of that actually clones itself are worms and a few lizards in Arizona. Everything else, it takes a mate, two different beings coming together. So male, female. So it's a big theme, and the big problem we have in the activist community, because I consider myself first and foremost an activist, and as I said to my guest last week, I said the highest form of spirituality at this time on this planet is activism, because it's the hardest thing to do. And the only way we're going to fix the physical plane is if we come together as one and somehow create a vision in a better place. And trying to agree on that vision is extremely difficult for most activists. And it's been one of the main purposes of my show, I Am Nature, is to try to bring together the three loves: love of the mother, love of source, and love of each other. We need three loves to fix this place, not just one.
I'm wondering, and I'd like you to talk a little bit more, but we'll get into that because I think we're pretty much on the same page with that. And I wonder if, here's my sense of things about, we could say what we need to do or what we're being, I have to say what we're being asked to do. Or we could say what our agreement was before we came here to do. And I feel that has a lot to do with our spiritual evolution. And I'm wondering if when we try to get people together and looking at all the issues, the serious concerning issues that we are very well aware of, and how to get people to come together to deal with those kinds of things, I'm wondering if, you and I are on the same page, but here's a little bit of difference where I'm looking at is that for me right now, the guidance that I have received is we have to come together in unity, but we have to work together on a higher plane of frequency and energy. And that has to do with the love. You could say the three loves, whatever you want to say, but it is about that frequency. It's about compassion and love. And coming together energetically, this is how I look at it. Not, the difference there would be not coming together, sitting around the table, saying, well, how can we get the taxes thrown out, or how can we get better Social Security, or how can we stop these mad psychopaths in our political system? There is a difference there, only that little piece. Because for me, the guidance that I've been getting is to do what I call the sacred works, because it's about the sacredness of ourselves as a people, as humans, and the sacredness of everything around us, and the spirit that is within us, and the source, as you were speaking about, love of source. That's high on my list, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that in a second, because we all talk about source, return to source or be with source, be one with source, we are one, we are source, on and on and on. And to really try to come to an understanding of what is it that we're really being called to do by the mother, by Maka'ino and Chimaka, Mother Earth, Gaia, and Creator, Mother, Father, and the soul spirit that is within us, because all of these are in relationship. And so I feel we could argue and protest and so on and so forth till we're blue in the face, but my perception of what we should do about this particular system, political system or whatever that is overruling us, may be very different from another person in the meeting. And then how do we work? Because you're finding you're having an issue with that. Everybody can't seem to come together. But I'm wondering, I feel that maybe coming together on a higher consciousness, using the ancient wisdom that was taken from us, but that others that are not so nice are using, and that is working with the energies and the frequencies, because everything in creation is a frequency and an energy. Nature is naturally holding, or let's say upholding, its original blueprint of the harmony and balance frequency that it was created as. Humans also are created in that high frequency from the love of source. But when we get here on this earth plane, we start losing that inner standing. We start being subjected to brainwashing or issues or dysfunctional systems, and so on. So we lose that wisdom. It's within us, but to me now it's the time to reinstate that, to reawaken that ancient wisdom knowledge. And that, to me, that's the guidance that I've been getting, is to help people to understand the power that they have been given to change things through the frequency of love and compassion. And if you get a group of people, and tests and studies have been done on this, if you get a group of people that diligently focus together in a good way from their love and their heart with the highest consciousness for peace, harmony, and love, things start to vibrate in a different way. I mean, studies have been done on this. So that's what I'm focusing on. And I think that may be the only little tiny piece that's just a drop in the bucket where you and I are.
Well, I'll tell you what they do at Findhorn, which is to me one of the most advanced groups of people on the planet. I mean, there's different types of spiritual intelligence. There's the individual person's ability to connect with Source and the Mother and the pure being within us. But there's another type of knowledge that is evolving here, and this is why this whole mess was created. In order for us to evolve as a species further, we have to learn to develop a collective love, a collective consciousness. We talked about this before. You call it a tribal consciousness. I call it return to the pack animal and energy. This is why we're here. This is why I'm an activist, and I'm in search of the high spiritual awareness. And you have to take the tough road to develop yourself spiritually. And trying to bring people together who have a tendency to not want to get along or agree, and they're stuck on teleology and all this kind of. This is where all my background in philosophy really helps. A lot of philosophy of science, a lot of different facets to my past education. I can try to bring people together and say, hey, okay, we can disagree all day about what you think is most important in this struggle, whatever, but aren't we really focused on getting rid of this toxin or this process, whether it's geoengineering, whether it's nuke power? And I find people, they get so stuck. So getting back to Findhorn, so what Findhorn does, before they sit down and they have, Findhorn's an eco-village, by the way, for people who aren't familiar with it. It's in northern Scotland. There's 120 people living there. To me, they're all Earth Angels. I've had a couple of them on my show. Kasia Joubert used to be the president. If you get to my podcast on, look up I Am Nature on YouTube, you'll find the show. It's one of the best shows I've had in the last year or so. What they do is they actually meditate on the topic at hand when they have a meeting. And they have all these subcommittees within these 120 people. And this group of people, 120 people, they set up thousands of eco-villages all over the planet. They're so respected in the development community, dealing with poverty and whatnot. Now they're getting government funding from Germany, from some countries in Senegal. Because what they do is they just go into a community and they teach them how to do everything for themselves. They teach them how to grow their own food, how to create their energy, how to organize themselves, how to become like a tribe. I mean, they really are an incredible bunch of people. And that's one of the things I'm trying to teach other people is that, hey, there are still models of how to run this place on this planet that are functioning at a very high level. And so let's get with the program, folks. Let's create our eco-villages. Let's create our new communities, because this is the solution to what we're dealing with now. It's one of the solutions.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Does that answer your question, Barbara?
Well,
so we're not that far off, because what they do when they have these meditations is they connect and they create this higher vibration.
Yes, exactly. I'm thinking that the piece is the ego that gets in the way when you're not focusing or functioning within the sphere of spiritual consciousness. But people tend to step down a few levels when they're frustrated, when they're upset and angry or fearful. That's the difference that I'm talking about. It's more difficult to get people to come together when these things are overwhelming them. You know, there's have you ever heard of Dom and Her? Dom and Her in Italy?
No.
Well, I popped into the Skype here, and I'll pop it on the chat. It's a laboratory for the future of humankind. It's an extraordinary story, how this all started. You will find it quite amazing. It's very much similar to what you're speaking about Findhorn, which I'm also familiar with. It's, very much a spiritual, based on, it's a federation of spiritual communities based on a lot of, higher consciousness and understanding of how to, where we need to go. And they're living it, just like the people in Findhorn are. They are already living it. It's quite a remarkable, beautiful group of people. Now it's quite large. It's pretty much started this man was, they're in Italy, and somewhere, I don't remember where it is, it's near Turin. They're based in Turin, north of Piedmont. And this man who started this community...
That's Italy?
In Italy.
Okay.
I put it in the Skype for you. In Italy. Now, this is amazing how this happened. He was drawn to this mountain near where he lived. And he was by this mountain. I guess he had his pickup truck. You'll have to find the story of how this all started. He had a pickup truck, and he had a few tools like a hammer and chisel. I don't know what he had in there because he was a stone worker or something. Anyway, he was called to start digging a cave in this mountain. And he had some friends with him, and they all started just with their little hammers and chisels and things and shovels. Well, over time, they made their way into this cave, the mountain made a cave. Then they started making rooms. Then they started decorating the rooms with mosaics based on, spiritual things. It started to grow. The whole interior of the cave became room after room after room. So beautifully decorated. It's just stunning. And then they began to move outside on the land and built structures and various other things. They have their own bakery. They have their own school, university. They've brought other people in and so on and so forth. But the interesting thing is when you go inside the caverns or the caves, you just will be so stunned. And the man who owned the mountain didn't know what was going on. He owned that land. But this man had a vision. He had a vision, and he couldn't help himself. He just started this, and now it's like it's quite fantastic, So, yeah, just check that out. It's DAMANHUR. It's damanhur.org. And just check out the site. There's, see if you can find the one where you go inside the caves and everything. So there are people, there have been people, and there continues to be people that are awakening and coming together and making a difference. And they're doing it. And this is the shift that's happening. And this is, like you said before, this is why we're here. I feel too. We came here to do this work. We came here to evolve, not to have somebody step up to the plate and say, hey, I can do it for you and I can fix everything and I'll make everything better. We won't evolve if we sit back, or if we sit back and do nothing, we're not going to either.
Well, the thing is, we have all these spiritual leaders that came here in the past. We have Krishna. Now, Krishna was an interesting chap because he pretty much could do anything he wanted. He was sort of like all-powerful. Since Krishna, I don't think they've been quite as enlightened. We've had, people like the Buddha, Christ, all the different, I'm not as familiar with the native folklore, but,
the peacekeeper, here. Yeah. We call the peacekeeper on Turtle Island where we are and where you are was called the peacekeeper.
Oh, okay. All right. But, all these individual beings came here to try to teach us, but it doesn't seem like it quite was effective. We're in worse shape now than we've ever been.
Well, that's certainly appears to be that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. So now the challenge is okay, guys. I mean, we've tried to help you from the other side. I think it's about time you guys started, using the knowledge, but also coming together. And this is what I've been told by Maya my creator being God, is that you want to get to the higher levels, you got to learn to get along at this level. I mean, this earth is a sacred place.
Yes.
This is not something that, God is just physical. No, I mean, like you say, everything is energy, everything's vibration. This earth was once as beautiful as heaven. I mean, we've let it go down, and for whatever reason, we sort of had a little, some interesting discussions about how did it get so damaged
and why. I mean, the question is why. I mean, people could say a lot of things about why they think this has happened, but I always look at, okay, well, what's behind the why? Who is and what is behind the why? What the why did it happen piece, and who and why. That's always what I'm looking at, because that's
a tough question to answer. I have a few suggestions, but
well, okay, we'll get into it. I just want to say about the message that I got when I came back from the heart of the world in Colombia with the Kogi, and I sent you that link so you know who they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Oh yeah. Well, these people are, I guess you might say, well, there are a few, but these are people who remained hidden in the heart of the world in the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, unknown for over 500 years. When the Spanish came, they fled. Nobody knew they were there, so they were uncorrupted. They remained with their law of origins and their ancient ways. They are communicators in the spirit realms. They do divination. These people are very holy, amazing people. And, when I came back from 3 years ago when I was there, I came back with a lot of messages. One of them was that now is the time that we put away the books, put away the step away from the so-called, teachers, gurus, leaders, and so on and so forth of those ilk, begin to step into our position, our rightful position, to gain the inner knowledge that is rightfully ours. The steps we must take, it's our own journey. It's our personal sacred journey here on this earth. Everyone walks in their own footsteps to the same sacred mountain. Doesn't matter what you believe in as far as religions or who you believe in or what God. We're all headed for the same sacred mountain. That's how I refer to it. So the message was, you must now learn to rely upon the inner guidance that was given to you and the guides that are with you from the realms. You cannot no longer go to a book and say, I had a dream the other night, and let me look in the book and see what it says. Or, gee, this happened, so on and so forth. Let me call up so-and-so and ask them, what does this mean? Because that's a complete dependent and reliance on a lower portion of learning, we could say. We were all there at one point. But this new paradigm is about entering into the connectedness that is rightfully ours. Okay, and that gift that was given to us originally. So this is how I'm looking at this. So I'm not saying that there aren't good teachers. There are good teachers, and some people need certain teachers at a certain level on their journey. But there comes a point in time when a really good, powerful teacher says to you, okay, I've given you everything that I've been given by Creator. Now you go on your own pathway with everything I've given you. You will learn so much more now, and you're going to be on your own journey. This is your sacred journey, your spiritual journey. I cannot walk in your pathway, and you cannot walk in mine. And all the beings that are waiting for you will come when you open your heart, your eyes, and your ears. They are waiting for you to teach you. And you have to come to that point, to step into that place, that unknown place, with trust and faith and love and gratitude, and all the doors of the wisdom and the knowledge that is rightfully yours will begin to flow. But if you keep looking to others, if you keep looking in the book that says, oh, this is what that dream means, or this is what that creature means, you're not going to develop. It's not going to happen. You're too reliant and dependent. And I call that, let's say, a level of frequency, not a low frequency, because your heart is good and you're seeking to better yourself, to become a better human. But we want to aspire to this new paradigm is really about spiritual evolution. And that relates to our connectedness to spirit within us, the spirit realm of the helpers and the guides of the light, and the source. So let me just with the la la la. This is how we are. Good, Brian. So what comes to mind, because you've said so much, and I don't want to. I've tried to hold things. So here's the piece about Peacekeeper. The beings that were here, as you say, I totally agree. They were sent down from Source to try to help the people, to wake them up, to teach them, to guide them on their way. Yes, the Peacekeeper was here on Turtle Island before Yeshua came to be born in Jerusalem. Then you have, even earlier than the Peacekeeper, you have Viracocha, who arrived in Peru in a brilliant light over Lake Titicaca. Then you have the feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl. Then you have Kukulkan. Then you have the white buffalo calf woman. Then you have, Yeshua's in there and all. Buddha came in. Okay, they are all from the same source. They are all of the same frequency. I call it a divine frequency as a teacher. And the written information about every one of these beings, except for Buddha and except for the white buffalo calf woman, all of these others that I just named were very similar, if not identical, in their physicality, and their teachings were all identical. Just like what we're talking about. And this, to me, putting these pieces together, to me, it's sort of like, well, Creator, Mother, Father sent all of this holy frequency and these beings to come down to Earth to guide us along and help us to awaken. And they appeared into different cultures over millennia, as the same frequency, a divine being, but happened to look very similar, except, as I said, Buddha and the white buffalo calf woman. Because Buddha appeared in, Eastern, and the white buffalo calf woman appeared to the Lakota, and so, I don't think Buddha would fare so well in the Plains Indians with the Lakota. Buddha appearing. Oh, I don't know, though. You never know.
Well, I mean, like I say, it's time for us. When this is it's a very difficult time to be alive for someone like you and I, because we believe in love and togetherness and kindness and sharing, and the whole ethic now is all about everything's upside down. The me has come before the we, when we all know that the community must be first. The human soil is the community come together, creating everything it needs. And then from there, the seeds, the children, they grow within that loving community. This is the way it was meant to be. All right? But now everything's backwards. And so it's very hard to change this paradigm, but it's an incredible opportunity for people like you and I to try to recreate this other community, which is kind of like diametrically opposed to what we have now. So we have some great examples of it happening. We have IC.org too, intentionalcommunity.org, which is a very powerful group in North America. The global eco-village movement is more powerful in Europe, in Africa. I think those are their main places where they've been established. They're a great resource for people to look at. Again, for me, the message I'm getting is that we've got to make our spirituality very practical. We've got to bring it into this world. Like this physical world is sacred. I mean, poisoning the earth is a great sin. That's why I call my show I Am Nature and not We Are Nature. We have to, each one of us, as you say, we have to come to the conclusion that, in understanding that we are part of this living conscious planet, and that we have to look inside, find the guidance. And the hardest thing to do is to give up the bad habits that we have been taught from childhood. And this is where, I guess I was fortunate in that I somehow, with the guidance of my spirits, and to evolve out of that. I never liked the system that my parents lived in. I always thought it was crazy, all this fighting, and there was never enough of anything in their world. And so the world of abundance came to me, God, that I studied all the political theory, I studied all the economic theory, I studied all this stuff. I'm very active in many different movements. And finally, it hit me about 4.5 years ago. I said, it's natural order that we need to reinstitute. All these other theories are way too complicated. We don't need all this nonsense. We don't need a stock market. We don't need all these things. We need to come back to the way we used to live, in connection with the mother and the father and each other. I mean, it's that simple. It's not a complex fix.
Well spoken, it's simple. But when you, and I agree with you, Brian, with everything there that you said, and it seems like it's simple.
So hard to get people to understand this, though, Barbara.
Well, because there's
so many people who think they're spiritually evolved.
No.
And they think, I'm so connected.
I get it. Well, the point,
I meditate. Yeah. I'm in peace and all this stuff. Meanwhile, they're they think, if the rest of the world goes down around me, that's just the way it is. I mean, a lot of people who are Hindu believe that. And that was one of the great journeys I went with this incredibly bright Ayurvedic student very deep thinker and understander of the Vedic wisdom, which is, wow, that's a whole show, that one.
It's very deep and complex as in a way, but simple. Because why it's complex and difficult, I think, to connect with this is because we have generations of brainwashing. The system has brainwashed us so severely that the concept of there is no time, for instance, or the concept that there is no right or wrong, for instance, the concept of, karma, all of this stuff, and the concept of we are living simultaneously in past, present, and future. These are all very strange concepts to a certain, large percentage of people. But when you look at these, like the Vedas or those types of, and even First Nations people, had this wisdom and this knowledge. It may have been, different language, slightly different on some level, but in a way, very similar. And so we're going to take a little break now, and we're going to come back and continue talking about these things, because I think it's, very valuable to explore what do these things mean when we say it's so simple, but it really isn't. Okay, so we're going to take a short break, and then we will see. We're back. Thank you for staying tuned. And Brian Porter is my guest today. This is Barbara Threecrow. I'm happy to be here on Turtle Talk live with you. So Brian, we've got lots of topics here we're talking about, and really dear to my heart stuff, as I know it is to you. Where do you want to go next? What's on your mind?
Well, I'd like to maybe explore my very practical solution kind of matrix or ideas. Because I think what's happening is that, as we were saying just before the break, is that all these people who think they're so spiritual, and they think that I had a discussion on another show recently where they said that we can change the world just by imagining it. I mean, we create the world. We're all different, so we create our own experience of the universe. And I tried to explain to them, I said, well, I think we create how we react to the world and how we where we decide to go in the world, but we don't create the universe. I don't think we have that. We're not creator beings, folks. We're moving in that direction, hopefully. But right now, we basically dropped the ball on co-creating with the great spiritual leaders here. And they're basically we put ourselves in a position where, it's getting close to total collapse of everything. I think more and more people are going to wake up. So the ones with the vision of how to fix this planet are going to be hopefully the ones that are listened to. Just take the example of GMO food. I mean, the people that know better and are growing organic, hopefully growing their own food, and if not in a greenhouse, because of the amount of toxicity in the air too is a real problem. You're not far from that new leaking nuke plant, right?
That's right.
In New York. See, this is what I try to focus on. I mean, I love the spiritual stuff, and it's a big part of it, but what I'm being guided to do is to connect the spiritual to the physical, and the physical is spiritual, folks. To let this planet go down is a huge mistake. We have no idea. Well, it's already in a
I
lot
think it's worse than a mistake.
Yeah,
It's
no, it's.
a
I mean, it's
mistake.
already
You
in a
learn.
lot of
You're
pain.
supposed to learn from your mistakes, and I think we've been here reincarnating over and over and over again to try to learn from the past mistakes that cultures have made, and we seem to be back in the same, groove, if you want to call it, the same rut. Again and again, and this to me is a crucial point in time because we are in the fifth, the shift into the fifth world, 1,000 years of peace, according to the Hopi and the prophecy that I also received, and it's about the return of the sacred feminine. This time, in relation to the mending of the hoop and the fifth world, and it's not just about the return of the sacred feminine, but because it includes the sacred masculine individually and collectively. Sacred feminine, masculine. That's what I call the tribal consciousness that you mentioned before, because it is about unity. It's about we are children, all children, sacred children of the earth, every one of us. And some people got really screwed up and are making a mess of things, but they are our brothers and sisters. And in our way, the First Nations way, we say mitakwiyo yasin, which means we are all related. You and I, we are not only related as humans, but we are related to the Mother Earth. We are a family with her. We are the children of the earth. We are related to the wingeds, to the water people, to all of creation. We are related energetically. We are related in a consciousness, that earth connectedness and creation connectedness that is who we are. So, I feel that when people say, oh, I'm very spiritual and I pray and I meditate and I get it and so on and so forth. But my question is, if you are caught in this media rap, if you are caught in even the disclosure rap, if you are caught in even the truther rap, if you are caught in all of these things, they're diversions to me because you're not doing the work on a regular basis, conscious basis. You're like, maybe you sit down at your computer and you talk about what's happening and so on and so forth, or you go in your room and you meditate, but then you get up and you're out in the world and somebody cuts you off and you start cursing or whatever goes on in the world that we are met with to actually knock us out of balance. To me, it's a deliberate. All this media stuff, all the red flags, even the talking about, we need disclosure. We need the government to come clean and disclose the fact and truth and so on and so forth. We don't need it. I don't need it. I know what's true in my own connectedness and the miracles and blessings that I have received. I know that it's true. I know that the Mother Earth is a sentient being. I have had experiences with the elementals and I've so on and so forth, and the ETs, and many, many blessings and miracles. People would call them way out there stuff, but they are to me miracles, and they are profound. I know these are my truths, and they are real. I don't need to defend myself about them. I don't need to explain myself about them, and I don't need to get other people to believe me. What I need to do, because I've been so blessed since childhood, is to help as best I can what I love. And that is the Mother Earth, and that is this creation, this paradise, and all the blessings and the gifts, this miracle place that we've been gifted. And that is, how do I do that? Okay, so this is why I talk about, the conscious relationship the frequency, the holding the high frequency through gratitude and love and compassion for not only the mother, but our brothers and sisters, for all. Those are frequencies and energies, and they reflect throughout the whole of creation. You know, I ask people, if you believe in a God or an omniscient being, how do you live your life according to that information? If you believe that Creator created everything from love and joy, because just look around, how could you say that didn't happen? Original. Yes, things are messy here now, that's for sure, and people are way off track and doing horrible things. I'm not talking about those pieces. I'm talking about original creation before the mess, appeared, before people got greedy and so on. I'm talking about the original creation was created from love and joy. If you just look at a baby, if you just look at the nature, the beauty of everything, and also the sacredness of it, meaning we could pull in, for instance, the numbers, the pi, how everything is a sacred number, the Fibonacci numbers, how all of creation is intelligent. The source was intelligent. So how could you say that you don't care about that? How could you say it has nothing to do with me? If you believe that there is an omniscient living earth, if you believe that, there is a creator, how do you live your life according to that? You can't say one thing and then act in another way, but this is what people tend to do. They get sidetracked, easily sidetracked, and that's part of the agenda.
Well, and that's why we have to advocate for a complete change to the present system, because we're raising these beautiful seeds, our children, in a very corrupted educational system, a very corrupted media system, economies. We have to start teaching our children, and thank God, again, there are people doing this. There are people who do not put their kids in school. There are homeschooling parents. I met many of them. They are becoming they're stronger and stronger. They are aware, and they are very opposed to the present system. And they do not want their children exposed to it, including the media, including the violence on TV, you name it. There are some very, very good signs. And this is the kind of thing that, I try to highlight in my show. I try to get into the practical solutions here in the physical world, Barbara. This is what's missing, are practical physical world solutions.
I think people don't. You're right about these solutions. We have to focus on the solutions, because I think people don't really. They're so dumbed down and they're so lost. They don't know what these solutions might be. And a simple thing I ask people, how do you feel inside of yourself? Do you feel peaceful inside? Do you feel grateful to be alive? Do you enjoy and have joy? And what is going on inside of you? Because if you are anxious and you are fearful and or angry or despairing, there's something going on here. You need to do something here. You need to wake up to find the source where you can have that inner peace. To me, that's the spiritual connection. That's a personal connection. That's our trust and that's our faith. And when you have that foundation, okay, it's the foundation that's missing, and that peace. And then I think it gives you that sense of knowing and strength and power and connectedness. You don't isolate because you're angry and frustrated, or you don't rant and rave because, why bother? Everything is crazy anyway. But you tend to shift into a different place when you have that foundation. And that, I think, is missing. And I always tell people, I killed my TV years ago. I don't watch TV. I don't listen to... I really am very selective now with any type of music that I listen to. I do not watch TV media. I'm not a shopper. I'm not a consumer. There are some necessities, yes, that I do need, but I am not in the mall. The mall, to me, here's my theory about the mall.
Barbara, let me just get this in. You can get anything you need for free.
Yes.
Now, There are networks, trading networks. It's a gift economy out there.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Trade, free, right. I agree with you. Yeah. So here's my thing about the mall. As I was thinking, I'm not a person to go to the mall. I don't feel the energy there really does not resonate with me. It's a really different kind of energy, and I'm just not a shopper. Um, but what I saw, and what I observed, and thinking about this, okay, people spend a lot of time in the malls, and I was thinking, why? Okay, what's behind this? To me, I know people are seeking. I know they're hungry. I feel what they're missing is their tribe, their people. They're seeking something that is missing in their lives, and they think that if they go to the mall, well, they'll buy something and they'll feel better. But that's what the media tells them. But here's the scenario in the mall. You get up in the morning and you're feeling that same hunger, that same need, that desperation. I need something. I want to feel better. I'll go to the mall. So you drive to the mall, and there's like tons of cars there. You walk in the mall, there's the people. What are the people doing? Well, they're communicating, they're talking, they're there with their friends, or they're just, meeting new people. They're wandering around, but they are on the hunt. Okay, they're on the hunt for something that they need, or they think they need, or that will give them a sense of something, or fill them up. Then they get that, they have that experience, and they go home. They're briefly, or, very, they're uplifted for this little time. The next day they get up, the same thing. They feel lonely, hungry, something's missing. Well, they remember them all. There they felt uplifted, they felt a part of something, they felt the people, their tribe, and they were on the hunt. It's the same thing as our ancestors. They were the hunters and gatherers. I call the mall people hunters and gatherers. They're hunting for something that they think they need, a desperation to fulfill them, and they're gathering all whatever that is, in that mall experience. They have their tribal experience. It uplifts them. They feel a part of something. And then they go home, and it's gone, the same old, same old. It's just this mad cycle that they go back around and around and around, seeking something that will fill them inside and give them a sense of well-being. But they're not going to find it there.
It's part of the evil genius that runs this planet. They are brilliant manipulators of the weaknesses of humans. I see that there are three main weaknesses of the ego. Getting back to Vedic wisdom, this is pure Vedic knowledge right here. The three main weaknesses of our ego are: one, insecurity, the feeling that we need others to be strong, to become. No, we just need to know ourselves to become. Second main weakness, sensation addiction. You name it, smoking, drinking, shopping. Shopping is a huge addiction for a lot of people. They need to buy something new every day, every week.
And eating.
It's the infinite economy. Eating, yes. Eating junk food. Junk food is highly addictive. It's chemically designed to be that way. Mm-hmm. Then the last one, which is the toughest one, and my friend Ken Keyes came up with this term, and I think he's completely on the money. I've never heard it said so simply and succinctly as this. It's the power addiction. People want power. People love to have the ability to control others, and this is why
they feel so powerless. That's why, because this is what's going on. People feel powerless.
Yeah, they're not in a community that loves them, that appreciates them, so they feel this need to try to control others and try to create a community in the wrong way. Again, the foundation is missing, but. I mean, this is what drives these crazy people who are like the United States that has already controls almost the whole planet. This is what drives them to want more. It's an infinite drive. You can never have enough when you're greedy.
Well, you'll never find that inner peace and joy by material things. It's just not. That's just not the way it is. It just doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. It's a temporary fix. Everything is a temporary fix.
Yeah, it's all addictive.
Yeah, when you have your spiritual connectedness, your foundation so strong, your inner peace, and what you need to move through these times and to come together with people is there. It will be there. It is available to us.
But this power addiction, I'll tell you, this is a biggie. And connects with what we talked about offline, was this issue of evil.
Yeah.
I think it's a separate intelligence. Some people will beg to disagree with me, and they think it's all human created. But no, I think that there is a separate dark intelligence on this planet. Why it came here, where it came from, there's a lot of different metaphysical explanations, but we've seen it manifest in exorcisms. We've seen it. It's a big part of native wisdom.
Yes,
that
it is.
There are dark things, and to me, they're teachers.
Well, on some level, I agree with you on some level. But just to throw in the exorcism thing there, if people laugh at that, the Catholic Church still has priests who are exorcists, and last year, Pope Francis just actually put out what he usually puts out, stuff, I don't know, to call in priests to learn, to teach more priests about exorcism, because of he saw the evil rising here, and he's right. So I'm saying that they do have exorcists in the priesthood.
Yeah,
it's
a very complicated and messed up institution, but there is some good in it still.
Please don't get me started. Don't get me started. We could talk about men in dresses and so on, but I don't want it, because people have heard me talking about that before. But my feeling is about anything organized that draws people in and tells them how to reach the Creator. Turn around and run, because that's not the way this was all set up. Creator made us sovereign people. We are sovereign beings, and it is our connectedness, our relationship. We are one with the Creator to begin with, but now we have people standing in front of us saying, oh, you can't get to Creator until you do this or that way, you pray this way, you do this, and so on and so forth, and I'll talk to the Creator for you, and I'll forgive your sins too, but you got to give me money. Put it in the little basket.
Did you see that article I posted about the beautiful environmentalists who were killed last year in Latin America? 118 great, beautiful people. I think majority of them women, fighting to save their local force.
There was just a recent one as well. Another environmentalist from I think Mexico. She was just murdered. Yes, and they're
Yeah. But this is how you get to the Creator. When you stand up against the evil, and no matter what the cost, this to me is one of the most quickest routes to the Creator, because you're willing to put your life on the line for the mother. And to me, this is what I believe. This is the calling now for everyone. And the only way we're going to fix this place is if we're a lot more of us are willing to do this, because the level of malevolence here right now is very strong. I don't dwell on it, because to me it sucks your energy, but it's strong, and it's to me it's ridiculous to say anything different. And that's why I'm saying about these people who are meditating to try to change the planet. I mean, guys. We need to do more than meditate to fix this planet.
Well, let's say that it's fine if these people want to meditate. They have love in their heart for the planet, and that's good. That's a good piece to the puzzle. Let's say that. I understand what you're saying, and I also believe that
it's a good thing. I mean, I'm not saying it.
No, I know what you mean.
We have to interact with the physical world.
We do, and I also feel that we create our own reality. Okay, we're not creator beings, as far as what we're, you're talking about, Mother, Father, Creator, or the other ones, but we are creators. We are creating our own reality, and we're making a mess out of it, our reality. And this is where we have to wake up, talking about frequency and energies. We are all energy beings. Everything is energy and frequency. So if you're angry and you're violent, or you have nasty words coming out of your mouth, or you're jealous, or you're thinking bad, evil thoughts about people. Those are frequencies, and those are vibrational, and they are emanating out throughout the whole of the ethers and onto the web, and they are like a domino effect. And what goes out comes round eventually, but we're talking infinity here. These energies from the beginning are in the ethers. They are, because we live in infinity. So you have to think about all the stuff that's roiling around out there, positives, negatives, things that are like out of balance, out of whack, beautiful things, joyous things, happiness. We have all this mishmash of stuff out there, and it is affecting, and we are being affected, and we are affecting things. So, this is a piece that I tell people, we have a power, we were given a gift to create our reality. What is your reality, and how are you creating it? In other words, what's your frequency? Where are you on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest? So if you feel joyous and happy and grateful and compassionate, you're pretty high up there. If you're angry and bitter and nasty and greedy and doing hurtful things and lying and so on, you're way down there on that frequency list. And that's what goes round comes round. As you know, when you do a good deed, when you give something out of love from your heart with no expectations to be, to have anything in return, but just unconditional love, it feels good. You will be rewarded. I have felt it. When you help someone, you're not looking for them to give you money or to turn around and buy you a house or whatever. You just love that person. Unconditional love means you have no conditions. I'm not looking for anything. I just have this love in my heart. And my love in my heart for the gift the Creator gave us of this Mother Earth. It's like I am.
This is the way it works at the higher realms. Every
Yep.
being is like this. This is
Yep.
this is where any spiritual person would want to go. This is the kind of thing. And I'm exactly like you, Barbara. I get so much joy when I can help someone become or overcome an obstacle, whatever. My own life, what happens to me, well, it's important. I certainly do everything I can to keep myself healthy and whatnot, but I get much greater joy from helping others than helping myself. And that's the way it works in the higher realms. Everyone's helping one another. Everybody's got each other's back, so to say. And it makes everything so much easier, right?
Yes.
Oh God! When you can never let anything go wrong to anyone, when it's all love. This is why everything just flows like a river in the higher realms.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, and every time I see a river, I imagine I'm there. I'm there with the higher beings, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful experience.
It is, and do you know the elder, the Hopi elder, who years ago he said, "There's a raging river right now, and you're being asked to step out into the river and leave the shore, and keep your head above the waves and the water, and look around and see who's in there with you." And I took it a little further and I said, you know how a river runs? Sometimes it runs really rapid and swirling and, intense, and then it comes to a little place along the way, a little eddy, we call it, where things are slow and quiet, and there's little ferns on the beach side and the little sand and things. It's quiet in there and still. And you'll find your way to that place. That's life. You go out into the raging river. You experience life. See who's there with you. Look around, because those are your people. Let go of the shore. The shore is the old way. The shore is fear. The shore is your comfort zone. You think you're comfortable, but you're really not. But stepping out into that raging river is life. Find that flow. Know who's with you. Find your people. You'll come along on that river to a quiet place. That could be a long time. And then you're going to step out, be asked to step back out into the river. Go a little further on your journey. Experience life. Keep your head above the water. Keep your head above the water means trust and faith. See the people that are there with you, because they're on the journey with you. They're experiencing the same thing that you are. Don't be afraid to let go of the shore. Don't be afraid to live. Get out of your comfort zone. Get off the couch, so to say. Spread your wings and fly.
This is one of the greatest barriers that's hard to overcome, is the comfort. that comes to those who have been, given access to the goodies of this system. And, basically it teaches us to ignore all the problems and oh, I'm happy. I've got my own little hovel. And
But do you think they
happy.
are?
I mean, who cares about the rest of the world?
Well, my question.
I'm here because I'm better than other people.
Yes, but how does that feel? You see, the question is, if a person has such arrogance and such, selfishness, and yes, they may have money in the bank, but guess what they need? They need more money, and they need to hoard that money, and they need to be suspicious, and they need to be paranoid, and so on and so forth, and they're hungry for more. And those people aren't really happy. There's a missing piece.
They give to charity, Barbara. They give to charity. They may have a foster child.
Oh, well, that makes them okay then. Excuse me. That makes them okay then. Are you telling me?
No, what I'm saying is that
it's an excuse. I give to charity.
The foundation has to exist. I told you earlier about all the economic theory I read and studied and all this stuff. It boils down to the indigenous way of living is the only one that will ever work here. The community creates what it needs locally.
Well, that's what I
understanding of how many problems we have created on this planet by building everything on another part of the planet and shipping it. How much pollution that creates everywhere.
Well, does that make sense? I mean, how brilliant is that? That's brilliant. The First Nations.
People don't know this, Barbara. They don't know how the act of shipping is polluting everything.
They don't know where their food
comes from. Even David Suzuki's, the great guru of ecology in Canada, doesn't talk about this. It's the most important thing. He's worried about the use of fossil fuels. Well, 250 times more pollution is happening in the oceans than on land. We can make everything squeaky clean, run on electricity, no pollution at all on land, and the oceans are all going to die because of the shipping, and it's going to get worse as they melt the Arctic. And they have a shipping lane there, too.
They already have it planned. My question here, let's just look at this piece, because we know about the cabal, the elite. We know that. We know that there's something that we call evil behind that. Is it a being? Is it a person? Is it a frequency? It doesn't matter. It is present.
Yeah.
We could spend a lot of time trying to figure it out, but that's, again, diversion. Because we need to keep focused and we need to keep doing our sacred works. We need to keep our foundation really strong. So my question is, so these so-called people who are of the few, who are ruining everything, all right, we're part of it. It's not just them. We're all part of it to some degree.
The roots go everywhere.
It's go everywhere.
Just a few people. And people believe in this system.
But then you have, okay, so my question is, we clearly see what is happening. Yes, the oceans are dying. We're in the 6th extinction of animals here. People are sicker than they've ever been. We've got the chemtrails. Name it. We all know. My question is, so those people, they're living here too. Where are they going? What are they going to eat? I mean, do they have some magic pill? Well, they could. They're getting ready to go to another planet already. This is in the works. They're getting ready to go out there into the cosmic realms. First dibs on whatever's out there. This is a sad thing to me. That's why I say these people are so manipulated and ruled by this evil, that what does the evil want to, why would the evil, that whatever it may be, the evil, want to destroy the Mother Earth and all the beauty and the sacredness that here, life here? What would that be? Because you have to look, I'm looking at that piece, because these people who are the elite and the cabal, who are so manipulated, and, the corporate mind and GMOs and chemtrails and the nastiness, these are people. These are human beings.
Again, it's this power consciousness. They think
they know
have a better way of doing things than Mother.
You think
we can create a better world than the Mother Earth.
Oh, so you're saying, well, I call that crazy, insane, because they think, you're saying that they think that they can rise above all this sickness that they're creating here, destroying the food, destroying the earth herself, the waters. They won't have anything to drink. Are they so insane that they think that they are above that? Is this what that is? I mean, it's just a big question in my mind, you know. Yeah, I know they're planning to go out into the cosmic. They're planning on settlements already.
Well,
I'm
what's his
just
name?
I'm just throwing the
William Cooper, Barbara. William Cooper, who was one of the most credible, like Snowden type guys. He came out though in the early '80s or early '90s. He was taken out just after 9/11 because he basically said that was, it was an inside job and all that stuff. And they got fed up with him telling the truth for 10 years on. There's some great videos he put out. He used to be in the Navy, and he's sitting on this huge destroyer or something. He's a young guy in the Navy, and he sees this ship the size of his destroyer come out of the ocean and disappear into the sky. Okay.
I read about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
And no one on that ship was allowed to report it. They were all basically, taken aside one at a time, said, this is top secret, you're not allowed to see it. So what you're saying about, I believe they already are on other planets.
Well, that's very true. I could see that.
And they don't care about this planet anymore.
I know they don't.
So
we better care. We better get. Yeah. Hello, people.
That's where the juxtaposition of the dark and the light has to come together, because we cannot just say that's love, let's love, let's love. No, we have to look at the reality of the situation. We're in a situation where it doesn't make sense from our point of view, but when you are one of I don't know how many of them are, a few thousand maybe, these very high level banker, elite military industrial complex owners, Rothschild types. I mean,
not really that much, not really even that many, but they all have puppets below them, and more puppets, and more puppets, and more puppets.
They've already got a way out of here. Believe me.
I believe it. Let me ask you about. So you have the banker thing. You have this thing coming out more. People are talking about it now more so, and I know you talked about it first to me, like I don't know, a month ago, and now everybody seems to be talking about it. About that. The shipping, there was no shipping going on. Everything was shut down. And then you have all the money's going to be returned to people, so on and so forth. That piece that you were talking to me about, remember? Yeah. So now everybody's talking about it.
Oh,
and
really? Well, that's good.
Yeah,
I'm not sure it's completely true, but I'll tell you this much. There's an article in the Liberty Beacon, which is an organization I'm officially connected to now, which is a great website, folks, thelibertybeacon.com, or go to the Liberty Beacon on Facebook.
It's Liberty Beacon. You have to go Liberty Beacon Alternative. Otherwise there's other Liberty Beacons come on, like the Liberty Bell comes up, stuff like that.
Oh, really? On my Facebook, you just put in the Liberty Beacon, it comes right up. Maybe because I've been just type in the Liberty Beacon, and you should get to the right site. There's also the American Freedom and Unity Project. That's another one of their Facebook sites. But there's an article about one of the Rothschilds being sued by the French government.
I saw that. You know what? Somebody has to pay. Somebody has to take the fall. That's how I look at it. They find somebody who's going to take the fall because people are starting to groan and complain and wake up and get these pieces. So now they're going to throw somebody at us, and that's the one they're throwing at us. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at this. Well,
it may not be the be-all and end-all, but I think what's happening is that some of the richest people who aren't in this high-level elite, they're like maybe one or two rungs below, are starting to realize that their goose is cooked too.
Oh, yeah. That's what we need, and that's what we need more of, the puppets waking up.
Exactly. You see, there ain't no safe place on a planet that's dead. I don't care if you're in New Zealand. Eventually it's going to get to you too. Especially if that ozone depletes. Nothing's going to survive ozone depletion, and they're doing all sorts of stuff to, like with the geoengineering, 100,000 flights a day. I don't care if it's in the jet fuel or whether it's being dumped by military jets. It's got to be stopped.
They're manipulating everything, the weather, everything. They really are. They're really, really deeply involved, and they've been at this for quite a while. And we have to get ourselves moving here. The ones that are waking up, we need to get our message out. We need to give the people solutions because people are spinning with
on the physical
those.
plane.
That's right.
Plane. This is my focus because we
That's
cannot
right.
run around saying, "Oh, I'm gifted, I'm an alien, or I'm some guy who has a spaceship and I'm going to come here and fix everything." Folks,
You know me, I keep saying don't get on that ship because there's nobody that's going to come and fix this. I'm sorry.
they've been coming here for a long time.
Well, they have been, but that's
Yeah,
why
I
we're
think they
here.
gave up on us about 50 years ago.
Well, that's why they've been collecting specimens because they're really saying, well, this is, forget it. We better take all the good stuff and see what happens.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
nobody's going to. Here's what people have to know this. That's why we are here. We human beings are here to make this work. We are here. We're the ones that were given the ability and the opportunity, not someone else, some messiah or some ET or somebody, whatever. They're not going to. This is not the way it's supposed to be, as far as I understand. We are sovereign people. We are human beings. Nobody's going to come and fix your mess for you. As a child, mommy fixed it. But mommy's not fixing it anymore. And daddy's at work. So that's not, you've got to fix it. You're an adult now. You better grow up. You better fix your mess. Nobody's going to come and wipe up everything that you made a mess out of. We've got to pull up our big girl panties, big boy panties, and get going. Don't think that somebody's going to come and save you. No ship is coming. FEMA's not going to save you. They want to hoard you in those camps. Don't get on the ship, don't get on the train, and don't get on the boat.
Yeah, it gets back to the way of turning this around and make it positive is to see it as a positive thing. This is an opportunity for me to grow as a person, to learn how to work together again with my fellow human being, which is when things worked here, we all worked together and we achieved goals together and we created a beautiful foundation of abundance. We got to get back to that, and this is the challenge. And because we've been avoiding doing it for thousands of years, now it's like we don't really have too much choice. The old saying, necessity is the mother of invention. So yeah. I mean, but what I'm going to ask you to do, Barbara, is that maybe you have such a great way of putting things when it comes to dealing with bringing focus on the essential issues. Maybe you can help me work with the geoengineering movement, because there's a lot of people fighting in it right now. There was a post today on one of the pages about how we got kicked off a page. There's some real battles going on around teleology, and it's complete nonsense. It's creating division when we should be creating unity of purpose.
Well, there are people who are infiltrating deliberately into that and stirring up the pot to pit people against each other because they're afraid. The people have to understand, when you see somebody interfering and on that level in your community, in your group, that people are coming together to do something good, the minute somebody starts creating dissension within your group, be very alert. You have to really pay attention, because that is part of the agenda, is to infiltrate into these groups and circles of people who have good hearts and really want to make a change and do something different, because they really are concerned, but they love the earth, the mother, and the coming generations. They know we have to do something now. And somebody who's there listening and taking part and seeming like a nice person, but they start disrupting things and they start throwing around stuff that gets everybody riled up. Be very aware. Be very alert to that type of person. They are coming in deliberately to manipulate. They're not on a higher plane if they're creating that kind of energy. That's my sense. So you have to be very careful of that. Very alert to how easy it is for us to get knocked out of balance. We come together with a good intention. Our hearts are in the right place. All it takes is one individual to knock everybody out of balance, and they start arguing and getting angry and frustrated and losing the focus and what we're there for. That's deliberate to me. Whether that person knows it or not, whether they are doing it consciously or they are being manipulated to do that. So I'm just saying that's going to happen. It's because them are getting very nervous and anxious about people awakening, about what we're doing, our awareness, our awakening. They're getting nervous.
Well, I
And
mean, they're developing new technology now,
well,
so
people
it
say,
hides,
"Oh, they're afraid of us."
it hides.
People are saying, "Oh, they're afraid of us. It's not going to last. They're all going to fall apart." But what are you doing? What's your participation? Because we all need each other. In the tribal way, what I call the tribal consciousness, or the way of our ancestors, all of our ancestors, by the way, not just the red nation, but the black nation, yellow, and the white nation. We were all tribal people originally. Before all this technology, before organized religion, we all were connected to nature, to the earth, to the signs, the stars, everything. We were tribal people. It's a tribal consciousness. We needed each other in order to survive. We are back at that place. We need each other in order to survive. So that's why I call it the tribal consciousness, back to the ways of our ancestors. Yes, and the First Nations people here on Turtle Island, and many of those hidden, like the Kogi and some of the people in the rainforest, still maintain their original ways of being one with the earth and conscientious people, and a tribal way of helping each other to live and survive, and making sure the next coming generations had food, clean water, and so on, and had a safe place. That's a tribal consciousness. You can't survive alone, but that without that. We need each other. And the other, pretty much our culture today is, I don't need you. I got my TV, or I've got my money stashed away, or I've got my food, and I don't care what happens to you. But what happens to one person happens to all of us. Eventually, it's growing like a sickness, and it's happening. It's going to happen to you sooner or later. That's why we need each other. That's why tribal consciousness and that connectedness to family, one big family here on this sacred earth. So, yeah, if you're lost and hungry and unhappy and angry, you're outside in a way of that tribal connectedness of the people. We need those people. We can't do this alone. We all need each other. That's the way we are right now. So we're being forced to go back to the ways of our ancestors. We are being forced and pushed to go back, to wake up, to become humans, better humans, to care for each other and know that, I need you and you need me. We're together in this. And that's how we're being forced. We're being forced to move back into that state of mind, state of being. That's how I look at it. Where are we heading?
Well, we are being forced, but the thing is, Barbara, is that if we don't stop this release of toxins, the eco-villages aren't going to survive either. So what we have to do is we have to move in the direction of reconnecting and becoming more of a tribal type people again. But we also have to create energy to stop this evil, because it has the power to destroy all life here. Look at Mars. Mars used to have people on it. It used to be populated. It used to be full of life. It's a dust bowl now. It may have some space bases on it, but there ain't much living there anymore. Believe me, the entities we're dealing with now are capable of doing anything to this planet.
Well, that's where I feel the focus of frequency and energy come in, and a state of mind of that, communication with the Creator who created all of us and everything here. I don't feel that omniscient being who, out of love and joy, created us and created the earth here and the cosmic realm, is, in my feeling and sense of understanding, gave us a job to do, gave us a responsibility, but not to turn away and say, okay, well, sorry, you're on your own now and you're making a mess, so goodbye. I feel that there's an anticipation. I feel that there's sort of like this holding of the breath. It's like, okay, all the children of the earth, what are they going to do? Because this is their gift here. Life is their gift. Life is a gift. The earth is a gift. The water, everything so sacred and beautiful is a gift to us. So we're being asked, what are we going to do with this gift? That's all up to every one of us. And if you don't like somebody, get over it. Maybe somebody doesn't like you. If you say so-and-so, I don't like them, they suck, I don't need anybody, well, somebody might feel that way about you. Or that's going to happen. But what are you doing? What energy are you putting out with that kind of language? Because that energy, that attitude has a power. It has a power, and it will come back around and hit you in the head. What goes around comes around. So
Well,
I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. If people want to take that attitude, I feel sorry for them. I love them anyway, and I hope that they are able to shift and come to inner peace and feel the love that is coming to them and share that love, because that's what this is all about. That's what I feel, I love that person. And people who are screw up, people who are doing awful things, I don't have to be friends with them. They're not my buddies. But I'm asking Creator, okay, I'm asking Creator, who is the power, to help that person, because they're one of our family here on the earth. That could be me. I would hope somebody would ask for the help that I need, to wake me up, to help me, That's what I feel. We can hate each other, that's for sure. You want to choose that, that's fine. But I don't take that. That's not the route that I take. I feel like my job here is to hold a frequency of love and compassion for everyone, even those that are screw-ups, because there, for the grace of God, go I. That's what I feel.
We have a few, I'm just looking at the chat room here, and there's somebody named Anon in there saying, my love has no power. It's not doing anything to make the planet any better. They don't like humans either. They suck.
But they don't know that. That's where your faith comes in. It's like you may not see a result right in front of your face. You have an expectation, right, Brian? People who have expectations lose faith very quickly. That's my feeling. I have to have the faith that
immediate results, you mean?
That's right. I mean, we may not see what your love is an energy. A person that is your neighbor that you maybe show love to and they spit in your face, that's different. But your love is a frequency, and it helps you. Okay, it's healing. Love, just feeling love and gratitude is a frequency. You feel better. And that frequency that you are may touch someone in the next town or touch someone, be further. That's how we have to understand energy. We have to understand the frequencies that we are. Everything is a frequency. Everything is an energy and reverberates according to its environment, just like the Mother Earth. The Mother Earth responds in like mind according to its environment. We are the environment.
And I think added to all those wonderful things you're saying, Barbara, and I completely agree with you, is that this is the time, a rare time in our existence when we have to learn how to deal with evil. We have to learn how to move these people out of positions of power, whatever methodology we need to do it with, it's got to be done. Because these forces will do us in. And I have no doubt about that. And this is a great, great lesson, a very difficult lesson. And I think that's the missing piece. How do we deal with these evil forces here that are just trying to mess everything up? And they're deceptively evil. They're not blatant about it. They've willed away. They've rooted themselves into everything here through the money god, through the money system, which everyone's dependent on. This is the tough questions.
I agree with you, and I just want to say that in my life, I have been very, very hurt. I have been violated. I nearly died by a person's hands. I grew up in an alcoholic family. I don't need to go through the whole thing. I was diagnosed with breast cancer, on and on and on. And I have loved people and have been abandoned, violated, disappointed, rejected from the time I was a child into adulthood. okay, I've come to understand that the love within myself, for myself, and for others, okay, is the most powerful thing that I am. And I cannot look at other people and say, well, this is me. I cannot, but we can choose. My choice is to not depend, to not say, hold on to the fact that that person hurt me or didn't love me, because that's a waste of my energy and it's a distraction and I have work to do. You know what I'm saying? I have work. I was brought here. Every one of us was brought here for a purpose. We are all significant. And the Creator loves us. That's powerful. This is what we have to come to understand. People have faults. We all screw up. We hurt each other, some on purpose, some not on purpose. But if you're stuck in that spin, if you're holding yourself in that spin of I tried to love and nobody loved me, so now I'm going to hate everybody and I'm isolating myself because it's too awful out there. That's your spin. That's what you're choosing. And that will continue to spin, spin, spin in that feeling and that experience. Okay? So this is an amazing time that we are living in. It is so extraordinary this time. Don't you feel?
Oh, completely. And what I'm trying to be is, I call it like a master problem solver. I'm trying to come up with solutions that will work, connect people with them, and the thing that's missing is the glue. Because there's too many ideas out there of how to fix this planet, and they're fighting with each other right now. And this is the darkness is completely aligned. and they got us in a bad position, believe me.
Well,
But
I must say that
we have to come together. We have to create a much more cohesive a response to the darkness, and we have to stop fighting. That we basically are doing what they taught us to do, which is divide and conquer us. We have to look for commonality. We have to look for solutions that satisfy everyone and not just a few. But there are strategies, but we've really, it's a very practical wisdom that's missing now, Barbara. It isn't love. I don't think that that's the issue. We didn't even touch on this in the interview, but
listen, you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself in order to do anything for others.
The source piece is the practical wisdom that's missing right now.
That's the next step. Yeah. So we have like 3 minutes. I want to say that Rise of Awakening.
We can discuss that in another interview.
We will. I want to say Rise of Awakening. Devin and Shannon is coming up after this, but I just want to finish up briefly. We have 2 minutes. If you want to just give a little closing statement, and then I'll just throw something out there. Now, we have 2 minutes. Go ahead, Brian. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Well, I mean, it's always a pleasure to be with someone as wise and connected as you, and I'm hoping that you will help me in my journey to bring together the solutions, because, like I say, there's a lot of people out there that are working hard. They're trying to come up with solutions, but we're not working together because there's too many ideas. There's too many, and some of them are contradictory. I'm working hard with the geoengineering people now because it's the one movement that is the least well known in mainstream. All the other planet killers are out there, and people are aware of them, but geoengineering is still the one that's having a hard time raising its head in the mainstream. So I'm hoping that you'll help me work with them. You are yourself a peacemaker, and I think having a feminine energy will help with some of these people. So, we'll have to talk about that. But
we will. Thank you, Brian, for being my guest today. I really appreciate you and what you're doing for us and for everyone, and for the mother especially. So, I want to thank you so much for being here with me today, and thank all the listeners. And I just want to send out blessings and good health to everyone. And Doksha Kiwan Chinkyan Tinkulo. I will see you again, and open your heart, and let's do this together. Pilamaya, thank you.
Well, thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Love
Bye.
you.